It looked like fall here in Golden Grove, more than any place you've seen before. It could be in one of your old picture books to show little kids what autumn was supposed to be. There weren't any green trees or bushes, but there weren't just bare branches yet. It was almost the same as normal. All that had changed were the colors. Red, orange, yellow, brown. Even the blue of the sky high above your head seemed different than it did in the summer. It wasn't as bright either, as though it had gotten tired of sparkling by this late in the year, or like it was even further away from you now that you were in this place. The plants and sky didn't get this way where you lived, where you used to live. Your thoughts continued to jump around while you stood there in the big circle of the street at the end of the road. It was a weird path to you. It couldn't take you ahead or to the sides or anywhere else, like most streets you've gone down. This one only came right here with those big houses. The view in front of you was something you'd only ever seen in photos before from stapled together papers that advertised the middle house being for sale. It had been a picture book to you until this day. Now you knew that it felt like fall here too, because it was cold outside. Chilly enough that you sometimes held your eyes closed for a few seconds longer than usual to try keeping your eyeballs from feeling like they were going to freeze inside your head. This was a real place. The icy air surrounding you said, and you were really in it. And it was where you were going to stay. That was new. Your mom and you had lived in apartments before and never very long each time. That was until she got a big job in this not that big town and bought a big house. You wouldn't be going anywhere else for a long time. Now, in that moment, you couldn't imagine being there forever. But that's just the way it was. The old tan house at the very end of the long, round road was now your house, standing tall with two others by its sides. Those buildings were homes too, with their own people living inside, and those people and those ancient houses were going to be your neighbors. It seemed okay, felt mixed up, excited, mad. There wasn't much you felt. Sad, scared, not much thought. I'm going to say super excited. Nothing was going to be boring anymore. And it was even better because you'd be doing this with your mom. You'd have so much fun together. Ashley, come on and take a look. Oh, that was your mom's voice. You hadn't noticed she'd gone so far. You wasted no time catching up in order to reunite with her. Off the cul-de-sac road and cutting across lines of grass and sidewalk, you reached the picket fence your mom had called from. The gate was unlocked. Unlike the other houses in front of yours was a tiny gray stone walkway that led up to a couple little steps, and those steps led to the door. You walked along the private path, making sure each foot landed squarely on a rock, and not one of your dirt cracks in between until you arrived at the end of the line. Then you hopped up the tiny stairs to stand beside your mom. And there your mom was, standing at the edge of the porch, arms folded and waiting. She must have been moving around before because the shiny opal earrings she had on were twisting from side to side a little bit. You knew they were real opal stones because she had told you before, when she first got them. She also told you a long time ago that her normal name, not Mom, was Opal. Her clothes were the colors of a cloudy day after rain had already come and gone. The kind of day that could be cold and bad or really relaxing and comfy. It depended. You wondered which way she looked at it from. You didn't know. The rest of her, though, was much more bold, especially the matching purpley cranberryness of both her hair and eyes. There weren't a lot of things out in the world with that color that could feel gloomy. Everybody always say that the purple in your hair came from her. That seemed cool. Part of your mom ended up in you. Mom smiled at you. It made you feel as soft and warm on the inside as your mom was on the outside. What do you think? Pretty place, huh? Worse than junk. Better place. This is beautiful. My own room. It stinks bluntly. instincts jokingly. It's okay, guess. You stared at her blankly, nodded eagerly, shook her head fiercely. It's beautiful. I agree, my dear. Her mouth stayed in the shape of a smile, but her eyes and eyebrows changed, bending in a way that made it seem like she wasn't really smiling. Or was it some other kind of smile? She put a hand on one of the white painted pole things that kept the porch roof from falling down. Her fingers moved down it. Won't be too much longer. The real estate agent should be here to hand over the keys in a couple hours or so. Then it'll be official. We'll be the newest residents of Golden Grove. You shifted your weight from one foot to another. This was a big deal to your mom. Her whole life was changing too. You hoped it wouldn't be a mistake. You didn't want your mom to be sad. Well, you've seen the yard and the outside. You don't have to wait here the entire time. How about you go look around the rest of the neighborhood? She bent down, placing her hands on her knees in order to speak directly to you on the same level. It's a safe town, especially in this area. You'll be able to play freely out here. Perked right up, jumped up happily. Your eyes went wide in fear. You huffed unhappily, shrugged, covered your face, turned your face away. You jumped happily. Mom went back to her normal way of standing, with her head up high and arms folded. That's the spirit. Enjoy yourself. Just don't stray into any other streets today. Yes, Mom, it's not fair. I won't, I promise. You didn't ruled, thumbs up, grumbled. I won't, I promise. Thank you, I trust you. With that, you flipped around, bounded down the steps, and went back towards the sidewalk, ready to explore. Prologue. Your shoes really squished into the dirt part when you crossed from where you were down to the solid road. The smell of the grass and the rain softened ground crisp, though somehow also kind of musty, hung in the air, bringing the whole new year of school with it. You were going to be a fifth grader. It would be completely different from being just a fourth grader, and not just because you'd be attending a new school. You'd be in the highest grade of the place. Maybe that was why your mom was so sure you could do this by yourself. You were growing up. It felt good knowing there was more and more out there that you'd be able to explore on your own. Then before you took one more step, there was a faint tap against your shoulder. It was barely stronger than the wind, but it was definitely something, and it was completely out of nowhere. I wonder what that was. You jumped straight up. Both your fists went up defensively. You screamed. You rubbed your shoulder, feeling annoyed. It was a ghost, you deduced. It was a ghost! This town was haunted, and so were those old houses. It made sense. Rapidly, you ping-ponged your gaze from left to right, trying to get a glimpse of the poking perpetrator. No one was there. The neighborhood was empty, except for you. Yes, you judge. It was an invisible ghost, or you would have settled on that if you hadn't noticed there was a thing you could have actually seen left behind from the encounter. Sitting there in between the muddy brown blades of grass was something new. A paper airplane? Who would throw this at a stranger, and why would they disappear after doing it? As you considered those questions, your gaze shifted back towards the right, the side of the street where the tap came from. Whoever sent this to you had to have gone that way. You crunched down to grab it while keeping a lookout to make sure nothing else snuck up on you. The paper didn't feel the same crinkly, crackly way most paper did. It was thicker, somehow almost like a piece of cloth. It was cottony. That wasn't the only part that stood out. The bag was a tan color with the dark brown lines, not white and blue or white and black or something regular. More questions to add to the confusion. Where would paper like that have come from? You turned the paper airplane around in your hands and squinted your eyes keenly. There were pencil markings on the underside. The paper had scribbles or maybe even words on it. That was enough of a sign to undo the shape someone had put together. You pulled at the flaps of the plane and flattened it between your palms as best you could. It was true. The paper airplane had a message on it. Well, maybe you thought. There were some words on it, but not a lot, and they were on different lines from each other. You read over each tiny part from top to bottom. Hello. Go out, hide out, and then the bottom corner was Ashley Oak. Your name. It had been addressed to you personally. There was no mistake. You were the one meant to get the plane. You scrunched up your face. A person wrote stuff on a piece of paper, turned it into a paper airplane, threw it at another person, and the message they sent was that. Weird, cool, mystery, stupid, scared, something. This was a mystery worth solving. Maybe the words were a code you had to break. Tell your mom, get to the bottom of this, you're done exploring. You just wanted to go. You're going to get to the bottom of this. Someone or something had to have sent this to you. You weren't going to stop until you found out who and why. Past the parts where the light shone through the clouds and the parts where it got darker, you began your investigation by heading in the same direction the paper hit you from. The half circle of houses was out of sight by the time the normal sidewalk ended, and it really ended. Instead of connecting to another street with homes or stores, there was a car road behind you and a bunch of trees and plain ground in front. Going down the road would have to bring you to the rest of the town eventually. But you were sure that would be straying too far, like your mom warned you against. That was okay. You had other options. Bending in between the dark trunks and the bright leaves were two lines stamped out through the grass. They went in opposite directions. It was a crossroads. One led more towards where the neighborhood was, but back further right on the edge where the forest started. The other was completely into the trees, a walking path for people who lived here. You stood there at the start of the turning point in the woods, in your life, feet poised to move over the stirring thicket floor. You knew exactly which one you wanted, but you didn't know where you were going. You knew exactly. There was a path here that was definitely more worth trying than the other. You were sure of it. Something on the inside just told you so. You went down the walking path to your left, into the tree line. And your quest continued. The path ended up being kind of a trick. You ran out of dirt to walk on after only a minute or two. It became plain grass everywhere. Luckily, you only had to keep following the curved bend of the bush and the tree trunks that separated the forest from not the forest, to know you were going where you had planned to go. Then, as you strolled even further, something came into view. You almost didn't notice it at first. Stretching about as high as the trees and made out of practically the same colored wood was a tower sort of thing. The bottom of it was mostly empty space with thin stick poles at the corners and only one full wall. There was a little fake rock stuck to the boards of the wall, probably for people to climb on. Above was the actual floor with a slanty roof and railings around. Some ropes dangled off it in multiple places. The thought came to you that it had the same feeling as a tree house, except not in a tree. It definitely wasn't a real house. You might have found a local playground. Curiously, you moved closer until you were right in front. That's when you came to the shocking realization there was something up there at the top. I squinted to try seeing more clearly, and your neck bent back so far your head might fall off. You could make out a lumpy pile. You stood there looking, you shouted, you gave a base of the tower a swift kick, you gave the base of the tower a shook it, grabbed parts sticking out. You shouted out, "Hey! Is something there?" The sudden sound of clatter and ruckus from inside the fort made you flinch in place. It was a scrambling, thudding noise that you knew came from movement. That lump stopped being just a lump. It shut up, bent right over the railing, peered down, and saw you. It was a kid. Who were they? You couldn't look away. Their eyes were really deep brown. They had pointed hair, you noticed. You liked the floofy hooded coat they had on. They're the prettiest person you'd ever seen. You liked their floofy coat. Then, all together, one half of their mouth, one of their eyebrows, and one of their hands shifted upwards. That loop-sided pose they had, and the fact that they were at the top of the tower, made them seem pretty in charge here. Who are you? Why are you in my backyard? Oh, they were in charge here. I'm Ashley. I didn't know this was your backyard. I'm looking for something. Who are you? Hi. You're a backer? There's no fence or anything. I didn't know this was your backyard. I couldn't tell. Sorry. Somehow they twisted their smile and leaned over the railing even more than before. Yeah, there's no fence, but it's a house right over there. If you look again, you can even see that's the back of a house. And so this is the backyard, my backyard, because I live in that house. You knew what a house was and what a backyard was. The kid was making a joke of you. How could have I known? Fine, you just stop talking. You're being mean, you're being really clever. I'm gonna pick this one. You're a real jerk. They were funny, you had to admit it yourself. That house? It isn't close here to here. It isn't close to here at all. It's way over there. Your perfectly wise argument didn't have an impact on the stupid smile at all. I do have a pretty big backyard. Thank you for saying so. At that, they pressed the palms of their hands hard against the railing and then used to kick off their legs up over the sides and throw themselves right off the fort. There was a powerful crunch and a gust of air when the person hit the ground, just a little to the side of where you were. They landed on their feet, crouching into a ball and making the hood of their jacket to flip over their head from the impact from falling so far down. The person stayed like that for long enough that the leaves they stirred up settled quietly onto the grass again. The kids straightened themselves out with more poise than you could have expected. Squared shoulders, chin up, and with one hand they were pushed the hood down over their back again. They were confident and knew how to show it. That's that. Why would you do that? That was so cool. That was dangerous. That was dumb. Why are you jumping off there? You could crush me. Left speechless. Left speechless. Crazy. It's impressive. That was so cool. Yeah, it was. They took hold of the open sides of the jacket and flapped them out, shaking off bits of sticks and whatever other stuff that got on it when they collided with the dirt. Anyway, they shifted their head around to get their hair back off their shoulders, the way it was before, and then they jabbed a finger into their own chest. I'm Mr. Quanlin. Q-I-U and L-I-N. It means... And I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing this wrong. Both of Q's, arms spread out, openly gesturing the wide world around. Autumn, nice to meet you. What's your name? Ashley. Miss Ashley, why did you say so fancy? Why'd you say so fancy? Oh, my parents taught me. Mom says it's polite. Dad says it's useful. They're both right. Some people might get it by themselves, and some people might ask about it, but a lot of people won't. Now, nobody has to. I like it. Makes sense, weird, not without a word. I like it. Thanks. But hey, that's still about my name. What's your whole name? I want to know. He was persistent enough that you gave him your name in the end. I'm Miss Ashley Oak. That was perfect, Miss Ashley Oak. Oh, but people should call me Ash. People sometimes call me Ash, but my friends always call. Oh, but my friends always call me Ash. Cool. I've got a nickname too. It's Autumn, because, like I said, that's my name. That's what my name means. You can use it if you wanna. Alright. Wait, also, how old are you? You seem pretty similar to me. I'm 10, none of your business. A whole 10 years, double digits. 10! 10 whole years, double digits. Autumn slapped his fingerless gloved hands against the front of his chest to show you just how taken back he was. Whoa, so am I. Nobody else close by was exactly 10 before, but now there's you. And you're gonna grow up someday, and I'm gonna grow up too, but that's never gonna stop us from being the same age. Cool. Yeah, that's great. Okay, even if we're the same, just act older. He stood there quietly, shrugged it over. Yeah, this is great. More than 10 years old were better than less. But then you were having an ended up clear clap from Autumn to bring it to a close. Now that we're people who know each other, I still want to hear what you're doing. I've lived my whole life in this town, in this neighborhood, in that house, and I've never seen you anywhere. There's got to be something going on. Well, you reached right into your pocket and presented a mystery paper to Autumn, wanting your own explanation. But before you even said anything about it, Autumn wheezed with a tight grimace. He looked as stiff as the wood tower behind him. You're, uh, uh. He stammered and babbled and pointed his finger all around the space that was sort of in front of you until the world finally came to him. A sorcerer! What? No, wait. Autumn threw his hands up higher towards his shoulders, the sudden movement making sure nothing interrupted his train of thought. You're a thief! That's why you're here, to rob my house. That's right, I'm going to steal your stuff. No, you were right before. I'm magic. I'm a sorcerer and a thief. I'm not a sorcerer or a thief. Makes no sense. I'm excited to rob you. Why would you say that? No, you were right before. I'm magic. Sorry, I'm not going to be distracted. Once I see something, I don't unsee it. I'm like a hawk. Do you really think I'm a robber? He got all fluttery with his laugh and waving of his fingers. No, you're just a kid, but you've got some good tricks. Autumn tucked one of his hands inside his jacket. He moved it around in there, humming. The whole time, there was some kind of secret pocket or compartment in that coat. Aha! Just as he thought. When he removed his hand, he was grabbing onto something. It was a little notebook. The edges were bent up and crumbly, probably from being squished a lot of ways and a lot of times. There were papers sticking on it in weird ways that made you think they weren't even attached to the book anymore. They were just smashed between other pages to keep them in place. But the thing you noticed the most were the colors, tan with dark brown lines. It was the paper from the airplane. Autumn flipped open the book, tapped in a slow, considering rhythm at the front of the page with the back of his knuckles, and said what you wanted to know without you having to do anything. That's my special paper, with my notes on it, but it's not in my notebook. It was in your pocket. You must have done the thing that sleight of hand, that's what you did. To snatch my stuff in the blink of an eye while I was standing right there. So you're a magician or a pickpocket? That's all it could be. He shifted on his feet, putting one hand to his hip and using the other to make a waggling gesture with the notebook. Autumn was really confident in his accusation against you. Can you show me how you did it? How you do it? But that wavy motion, Autumn, was too much for the old notebook. Bent in half upwards and downwards with the momentum of its owner's arm, some of the papers slid out. They drifted to the ground slightly, the same way the leaves fell from the trees. I stared right at them, sitting on the ground freely like that. Autumn didn't. You lost it. You're right. You don't know what paper disappeared. Maybe you just dropped a paper some... Yep. It was definitely because I'm magic. I know. Because I never lose things. He said it proudly, still not paying attention to the papers cluttered around his feet. They were pretty much just waiting to blow away in the wind at that point. There's papers on the ground. I want to look down. You never lose things. You write lists of papers. You cite a tough zone. Hope you haven't noticed. I think you might want to look down. Autumn's eyes widened. He lifted the notebook over his head and twisted his fingers outwards, more fully clear his view of the grass below. To fully clear his view of the grass below. Finally, he spotted the missing pages. Whoa, thanks. In the middle of talking, he dropped to his knees to scoop up the loose papers. It only took a second for each one to be gathered. He leaned off to his knees onto his butt and made a little oof sound. From there, he got his feet against the ground while pushing up with his hands still clutching the paper so he could stand again. With that success, rescue mission done. Autumn delicately flipped through the notebook, inserting the loose papers along the way between different pages. He went all the way to the end. Then Autumn's complete book was pressed shut once more. Hey, that really helped, Ashley. A beaming smile directed right into your face almost had you covering your eyes, but before that happened, he looked away. Autumn twisted aside to better rummage inside the hidden pockets of his jacket. He made super sure that the entire stack of papers made it back safely this time. You heard a sigh of relief. In an even swooping move, Autumn tilted his head back over his shoulder to reveal his face again. The bright expression from before was completely gone. He had that smirk again. So, did you see that? I don't lose anything. Are you kidding? You lose stuff all the time. It was only because of me. Next time you're going to tell him about it. Your cheeks got hot from embarrassment. Really, idiot? You're an idiot. Broke into laughter. Oh, cool. Dang, it was so cool and annoyingly. Admit to yourself. Wow. Autumn was so cool, you thought. Autumn's fun with your reaction came out as a set of snickers. His cheeky mood drifted once those were done. Autumn twisted to the side and tried to rummage inside the hidden pocket of his jacket. He made sure that the notebook made it back to its normal spot. When he tilted his face back towards you, he was quiet and thoughtful. This was very mysterious. My paper vanished, and a brand new kid appeared in my backyard, all of nowhere. I don't get it. Autumn, I'm your neighbor now. I moved into the middle house on the street. Oh, the new neighbors. That's right. That's you. That makes so much sense. Then Autumn shook his head side to side, flopping dark brown strands of hair around, trying to sort out his thoughts. But if you're my new neighbor, not a thief or sorcerer, how did you know that this was my paper? I didn't know. Not for sure. Well, you're showing my notes off to everyone you saw in the world? Yeah, that was kind of the idea, huh? He breathed and let it out and tried to explain the weird situation that didn't even make sense to you. I got here today with my mom. She's waiting for the real estate agent, so I had to go spend time doing something. I went down the road and a paper airplane hit me in the shoulder and nobody was there. Autumn nodded along, probably not getting everything you were talking about, but curious enough just to keep listening. I picked it up and opened the plane and saw the stuff written on it. I thought the person throwing the plane was trying to give me a message. I've been looking for whoever did it since. When I met you, I had to check if you were the one who did it. You went over the steps that led you to the point as best you could, and Autumn joined in with the conclusion. It wasn't me who made any airplane, but the page and things on it are mine. He pointed his hands on his hips as he thought hard about the info he learned from you. That means someone else somehow got a piece of paper from my notebook and used that to make the plane they chucked at you for some crazy reason. I guess so, but if you're the one who wrote that, how did you know my name? That was on the note. And what were those other words supposed to mean? Hello, go out, hide out, Ashley Oak? Doesn't make sense. Oh, Autumn cracked a smile and flicked his arms to start his own explanation. That's just stuff I was going to do. Counting 1 to 3 on his fingers, Autumn listed off each part of the letter simply. Hello. Say hello to people around. Go out, visit the town or other neighborhood, or whatever. Hideout means go to my hideout. Autumn stopped the countdown to pat the sturdy wooden wall behind him with pride. Right here. I'm fine. I get it now. Wow, I like your hat. That's stupid. So stupid. You made a hideout on your own backyard. So why would you tell me it's your hideout? I get it now. Yeah. For your name being there, my mom and dad told me. They talked about how people were moving in next door and how there's going to be a kid my age and that her name was Ashley Oak. It was cool to me, so I wrote it down. That way I wouldn't forget. And I even took out and read the back page a lot to make sure I'd be remember something. Looks like I forgot after all. It's okay. Jinx, you're trying to remember. Wow. You're such a scatterbrain. That's me. Oh my goodness. I can't believe you forgot everything you forgot because you lost the paper. I don't know why you're confident when you get everything wrong. Thanks for trying to remember anyway. You're welcome. I'll remember this time definitely. But you're gonna have to stick with you now. Whoever took my paper is still out there, and you were their target. Maybe you're not a sorcerer thief, but what if your paper airplane person is? We'll figure it all out, and you won't have to worry about anything. Okay, you can come. Well, all right. Yeah, your eyes are looking. Thanks. I would be scared to go alone. Sorry, I'm going by myself. No way. You're not in agreement. You should go ahead. No. You can come. I was going to ask that. Super. Do we have a plan? You stood up tall, accepting your now partner on this trip, and laid out to the next part. Yeah, I know which way we should go now. We have to go back to the spot in the forest with the 2 dirt paths. I know that place. It's right nearby. Let's do this. And so you started to walk along the autumn tree line now with your new partner in the adventure. Autumn came alongside you with a bold, certain steps. You are going to find that paper airplane person. Soon you reached the head of the path. You were at the crossroads once more. But you brought back knowledge and this new boy with you. All right, we did that one. It's where you were, and down there is just a car road. You stood at Autumn's side, gesturing around aimlessly with both hands. You didn't know if that had helped him understand better, but you couldn't keep still. But there's that one way over there on the other side. You bent your knees and stretched out both arms and pointed across the fork passage where the second dirt imprint was. Autumn couldn't possibly miss with your direction. With a tilt of his head, Autumn grinned in agreement. That makes sense to me. The decision easily made. Your and his crunching footsteps started up again in unison, and still, your quest continued. Once you went through the forest stilly path, you had truly entered the wild woods. Nothing else surrounded you any longer. Nature spread across the land with your narrow dirt line and fence being on the only sign anyone had walked in the spot before you. People were only visitors here. Golden and red leaves gently rustled against each other, and the thick clumps with each tree's branches flowing into others nearby. It was enough to keep the sky and sun out almost completely, but the leaves burned bright with the light basking over them from above. The foot-made passage continued to twist around up higher into the mountainside, further than you could see. You were amazed. It's so nice. It was uneasy. You went up the woods, straight icky. the kind of place your curiosity was piqued. With your wide, wondrous gaze thrown everywhere which way, you let yourself flow deeper into the thicket. Autumn watched your face. Your good mood was enough to rub off on him. I'd hang out in this neighborhood or other parts of town most of the time, but woods can be cool too. Really? Why don't you visit more often? It's right by your house. I've lived here forever. Every day of my whole life. Stuff's always going to be with people in their neighborhood and in town. The forest is the same whenever you come back. Trees, bushes, and birds. It's kind of weird, but when you think about it, besides the plants looking different and the seasons change, it's like time doesn't exist here. Casually, Autumn lifted up his hands from his sides, only to gesture them downwards to the forest floor. And hey, this path we're walking on has been here even before I was born. He strolled along, kicking out a little piece of rock on the road and looking straight ahead. It's probably been around for as long as this place has been. Golden Grove, or longer. For a second he was thinking so hard the smile he always had went away. Then something made him chuckle, and he pointed over to the side. But that fence is kind of new. I remember there just being the dirt when I was little. That's the only thing that's ever gotten different out here. Wow! The quiet bubble that existed here in the forest, away from the town, popped from sudden unnatural clatter. You stopped. It was a whooshing, thumping, and stirring of the leaves, like something had crashed into them. You and Autumn shared a look, both checking that the other heard it too. That wasn't me, and it wasn't you either? Yeah. You knew for sure that it wasn't the wind, and it had to have been an animal or a person, and it came from right over there. And that thrilled Autumn. His voice shrunk into an eager whisper. It could be them, the Mystery Paper Airplane Center. Let's go before they get away. You decided just to take a peek. You wandered to the bushes. You picked up a stick to throw. You wandered through the bushes to find the source of the sound. You pulled up your socks and began to make your way through the path and through the overgrowth. It was harder to keep your footing on the slanted, untrimmed ground. When you reached a really tree-cluttered spot, you grasped at the branches and pushed them aside in order to open enough space for you to get past. You moved past them the same way you'd open up a set of curtains, but it was a lot harder to do. The tiniest branches couldn't take the bend and snapped from the pressure. You could feel the splintery ends of the plants scratch a little at your face and clothes. It wasn't as smooth of an entrance as you hoped it would be. On the other side of that tree line was still the woods, but kind of an empty part. There was a lot of open ground with no trees or bushes growing, and a ton of leaves that were gathered into piles. Past that clearing, the trees were back and even more closely pressed together, and they were by the path. It was mysterious. There was nowhere easy to go, and nothing seemed out of place to you, until... Hello? There was a shout and a new whirlwind of leaves rushing through the air. From underneath one of the pods was another kid. Who was this person? They couldn't take their way. They were really red. They were sparkly hair, you noticed. Scarf. They had sparkly hair, you noticed. You stared at them and they looked right back at you, as if they'd thrown into the air gently drifted back down. It's everything they'd thrown gently. Yeah. Hi. You're the whole time. You scared me. Do you live here? You're crazy. How do you know we're here? You were waiting for us? Awesome. You began to laugh. You were going to catch someone. You began to laugh. That got the stranger giggling too. Anna folded his arms across his chest. He blinked slowly and thoughtfully. He usually had plenty to say, but in that moment he was left as stumped as one of the actual stumps in this forest. We're here. The jumping jack kid hopped again, but this time it was just to get off the ground. They dashed to the opposite edge of the open space, leaves scattering around them, dropping out of their clothes and being kicked up by their steps. You were wondering what was going to happen next. Watching them go, Autumn finally found some words. It's another person I've never seen before today. He twisted around so the top of him was angled more toward you. He brought up one of his hands to the side of his mouth and held the other close to his chest, pointing subtly in the direction of the stranger went. Ashley, do you know this leaf kid? No, The only person you met here, you don't know anyone but you. You shook your head strongly. Yeah, I didn't think so. Autumn's arms fell back down, like a limp noodle's. But he never took his eyes off the other person. He was definitely curious. From behind one of the tall crooked trees, the kid began throwing sticks and other plant pieces around. They were uncovering a hidden treasure, a big brown bag. They had to use both hands to lift the pouch and to get it over their head. The thick strap pulled tight under the strand of the weight attached to it. The line of their mouth looked just as strained. The stranger huffed when they released the bag from their fingers, letting it rest completely across their shoulder. You heard stuff bumping around inside from your position way over here. It was really full pack, but it didn't slow the kid down. They ran back to full speed to meet you where you were. When they were in front of your face, they gave you a wave and asked you a question. Hi, are you girls too? Autumn gestured to the front of himself casually. I'm a boy, Mr. Qlin, Q-I-U and L-I-N. Wow, okay, hi Q. The kid turned attention to you. Are you a girl? Yeah, how did you know? You nodded, William. Yeah, you shook your head. I'm not a girl. No, why would you think that? No. You nodded. Both girls? Both girls. All of a sudden, the leafy girl seemed to remember to introduce herself the way most people do. I'm Tamarack. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Alright, that sounds cool. Really? What a weird name. What does that mean? Wait, isn't that a normal word and not a name? Yeah. Tamarack is a kind of tree. I like it a lot. Autumn grinned widely at her enthusiastic introduction. It fits you. What's your last name? Bayman? Bayman? Cool, Miss Tamarack Bayman. You know my name means autumn. That's amazing. It's a match too. How do you people know how to do that? I think we're just lucky. Lots of kids don't have the right ones. Yeah. So what's your name? The girl you now knew as Tamarack sent you. I'm just gonna call her T. Sent the question your way since Autumn already gave his out. I'm Ashley. Oh, I'm Ashley. Nice to meet you. I'm Miss Ashley Oak. Autumn politely applauded your way of saying it with an appreciative smile. Wow. Hi, Ashley. She greeted you with a finger-spread wave of her hand and sweetly as if you had always known each other, and she'd done it 100 times. Do you think yours fits too? Your name? Yeah, I don't know. A little. I like my nickname more. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna pick. I like my nickname more. All my friends always call me Ash. Oh, alright. It's cool to meet you. Maybe. He pointed his suspicious finger her way as he made another point with the woods. There was only one house for sale anywhere near this neighborhood. Ashley lives there now. Where did you come from? Unless you're Ashley's mom. T was completely tickled by the idea, giggling and covering her mouth with her hands. She didn't do a good job of stopping any of the laughter from getting out. No, I'm not a mom. I moved in with my Ami and Opa. Who are they? Parents' name? Grandparents? You're living with your grandparents? Yep. I've never heard of that. Is it another language? Uh-huh. It's German, and they're German. Cool. You two know a lot. There's a granny who lives there and a guy that's her husband. That's your Omi and Opa? I think so, probably. Omi has really long hair, Opa has short hair, and some of it on his face. Yeah. Autumn bobbed his head up and down with great understanding. Granny and him have a kid now, huh? Wow. Alright, that's nice. Nifty. I'm not going to even say anything about the parents. I'm going to say nifty. Yeah. I've been here for 5 days and it's really good. There's so much out here I probably won't be able to finish for a long time. Months maybe. The loudness of Autumn's voice shot up. He was shocked and confused. 5 days, that's almost a week. I've never seen you. Where have you been this whole time? As I said before, I've been here. T used one foot to push against the ground and the other to stay upright and spun around in place once. I play in the forest every day. After getting the answer, he went a normal volume again but kept frowning. Oh, well, you can come with me and my friends if you want to, too. We hang out in the neighborhood, and I'm in town in my backyard and stuff. If you see us, just walk over and join. You don't have to worry. They'll like you, and they can talk to me, and if you don't know what to do. She shrugged, and then one shoulder with a bag strap went high. Maybe. There wasn't a lot of interest for Autumn's offer. He finally grinned again. He watched T with a tilted head. You're like your Opa, huh? No one ever really sees him around here either, even though he lived here for 1,000,000 years. T squished her cheeks between her fingers in delight, and he likes his office a whole lot. This is my first day in Golden Grove. Wow, that's barely different at all for a match. She furrowed her extra short eyebrows as much as she could as a new idea came to her. Hey, we're both girls, and he's not, but are any of us the same age? I'm 10. We're 10 too. You're 10, so are we. We're the same. I'm 10. Nod yes. We're the same, all three of us. Hooray, same age forever. Happily, T held onto the worn strap of her big bag, and bounced up and down in place. You decided that this was the perfect time to talk to her about everything that had happened. The paper might have been Q's, aka Autumn, because that's what he wants to be called. Just to clear up why I've been saying that. But it was possible she was the one who sent it to you. Hey, I got hit by a paper airplane. Did you throw this? Tell me the truth. You know what this is. Hey, I got hit with a paper airplane a little while ago. Was that you? Ha, yeah, you got it. Yes, I got it. It's right here. Woo! She flung her arms over her head in celebration, knocking her bag out to the side. It was made a thump noise when it swung back against her. My aim is good. You blinked at her in disbelief. You truly done it. You found the mystery person who owned the paper in the first place, and the person who actually sent it to you as a paper airplane. Entertaining, rubbed her eyes exhaustingly. It was too loud. You could believe the trouble. It's my Shelley. She was cute, you thought. You didn't know how to feel about that. She was entertaining, you thought. But you weren't the only one who had a reaction to the results. All right, nice, Ashley. Your wide eyes and Autumn's chair had T excitingly looked between you and him, not knowing what the celebration was about, but wanting to join. Thanks for sending. The plane was really cool. Why would you do that? Yeah, that was perfect. You smiled quietly. Thanks for sending it. You're welcome. Yeah, for the trash doing something nice. Trash? He brought both hands to his face and pressed his fingers to cheeks with great drama. It was trash. It was important. It's not trash. It's just right. It's garbage. Snickered and glared. Even if it was trash to you, it's still important to me. If it was trash to you, it's still... It's not trash. Aw. If it wasn't trash, why was it sitting on the ground in the forest? That's where I got it. With her wrinkled brows, Autumn shifted his hands more to the side so he could instead tug at the front strands of his hair, pulling them out fully straight. I don't know how it's possible. You wouldn't maybe be a sorcerer or thief, would you, T? No. Too bad. You thought it was funny. Ridiculous sighed, smirked. Thought it was adorable. He felt tired. He thought how he was so adorable. T and you both laughed, the sound harmonizing. Autumn finished his pout, straightening up and putting his hand solidly on his hips. He was back to being in control. You know, there's nobody out there who's perfect. I accept my mistake. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to you, Forrest, for messing up the place. That's really nice of you to say. Thanks. I think it forgives you. Cool. Watching the two kids interacting, you started thinking about this more and more, going over the whole experience in your head. Your turning thoughts were put in pause when T suddenly changed the subject. What are you two going to do now? I'm going to go back. My mom is waiting for me. And I'll walk Ashley there. I'm going to make sure she doesn't get lost out here. I should probably see how my Omni and Papa are, too. They're pretty old and need help sometimes. She took a big hop closer to you and Autumn, a smile growing across her face as she landed. We could go back together. All right, we can. I was going to ask. Both of sorry, I'm one of my own. Shake your head. No. Yes, I was going to ask. You relaxed your stance, accepting that this was really over now. Woohoo! T snatched up a nearby stick off the ground and directed the pointy end forward, the way you had come from. To warehouses! While chuckling, Autumn used his fist enthusiastically punched the air. Homeward bound! It's really nice. We're going to be successful. All right, you two are loud, smiling, groovy. All right! Yeah, 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 yeah! She had cupped her hands around her mouth to make it extra loud, and so you started to walk through the brown fall brush to get to the neighborhood again, but you weren't going to be alone there. T bounded ahead, bouncing her arm and down with the stick like she was the conductor of a marching band, while Autumn came alongside you with even casual steps. You were returning to that house. Your neighborhood had become even more orange-toned by the time you finally returned to it. The far-off sun slowly sank away behind the tallest mountains in the forest to sleep for the night. Your shadows grew larger, pulling away from your bodies to reach out into the street ahead. The dark shapes morphed and combined with one another as you walked in your own mismatched rhythm. All by the eyeball chillingness of the outside world got more powerful bit by bit. T still stand about 2 steps ahead. Sometimes she was closer and sometimes she got away from you again. She used her stick to knock out bushes and lamps along the sidewalk. Autumn was next to you, but had switched things up so that he was taking large skips backwards. Guess it was to look at you and face you better, or he was just thought it was fun. He pointed out in the sharpest building on the street as he went. Part of it looked almost like a tower, a different kind than the one in the backyard. See, that's my house from the front. It's great. And that's your house, right? The one in the middle, and Granny owns even further away one. Cool. The sounds of your steps continued to echo through the cul-de-sac until you came to a stop on the right hand side of the path. You'd arrived. Okay, this is it. Anna pulled up for an eager grin. We've got to meet up again later. See you later, Ashley and T. Anna flipped around to go back the same way he had come with you. He needed to return to the pointy red house with the huge backyard. He didn't drop any papers this time. Bye! Goodbye! T put both of her hands up in front of her chest and waved them around. I'm going home too. T spun in place before dashing further along the sidewalk to his sloped gray house on the other end of the neighborhood. Her bag clunked and jingled at her side the whole way there. You waited there in front of the house in the dimming evening light, watching the 2 other kids go to their homes, right on the same street. Bye, see you later. Care on your way back. Thank you for coming with me. It's so cool to meet 2 of you. It was cool to meet you too. That was everything. The whole outing was done. In the quiet resolution of your first day in this place, the 2 encounters you had earlier that afternoon drifted through your head.